get upset because they say they're on a fixed income. But remember, who fixed it? Who fixed it? And it's a thing of consciousness. It can be changed. We want to realize that where we are is the totality of possibilities. Not a little bit, but the totality of possibilities. And all things are possible. We want to know that our job is only one channel of an infinite source. There's an incredible infinite source that supplies everything. From the air we breathe, to the vegetation, to the plants and the animals and the planets and the stars and everything that's imaginable. And our jobs are like one channel. That's all it is. We can enlarge this enormously. Anything that's fixed, any fixed income in our life has been fixed by us, by an acceptance or a belief. So we want to enlarge that and really let it go. Think for a moment about money and success and work and bills and debt and envy and lack and guilt. How do you feel about that? What are your beliefs about it? What do you think about your work? Do you think work is a drudge that you have to go through? Or do you see it as something that you really love to do and enjoy? What do you feel about debt? Is debt something that really drags you down? Or do you just see it as something that you can take care of easily and you don't allow it to pile up? What is your belief about lack? Is lack something that's always in your life? Or can you see that lack could be something that's part of the past and is not part of what's going on now? Again, what do you feel about bills? Bills are these things that people get such stuff on. But they're only pieces of paper and saying somebody trusted us enough. And what about envy? Are you jealous and envious of people who have? And what about guilt? Do you really feel that you don't deserve? See, these are all poverty-oriented thinking patterns. Any negative thought that you have about money is poverty-oriented. So listen to what you say and listen to what you're thinking. I love the exercise of having people clean out their closets. Go and clean out your closets and your refrigerators. Take all the stuff in the closets that you haven't worn in a period of time and either sell it or give it away or burn it. But get it out so that you have room for the new. You want to make room for new stuff to come in. So clean out your closets, let it go, and as you're doing it, you say this thing of, I'm cleaning out the closets of my mind. Same thing with the refrigerators. You know, is that a place where there's lots and lots of little bits of food stuck in the corners? Get it all out, clean it out, make room, because people who have very cluttered closets and very cluttered refrigerators have cluttered minds. They're not thinking clearly. It's just symbolic. That's all it is. It's symbolic of what we have in here. You know, you can do some wonderful affirmations in the morning when you get up. And again, I love this gesture because it's so symbolic, and it says to the universe, I'm ready, I'm ready. You know, and just say, I'm open and receptive to receiving all good. This is a wonderful day of prosperity. One of the affirmations that I've used for a long time is that my income is constantly increasing. Just that simple. My income is constantly increasing. And then I watch it happen. What we believe for ourselves is going to come true. And when we're doing our affirmations again, if you do a positive affirmation and the negative comes up, just say thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. You want to hear it. We don't want to run from the negative affirmation. But what we want to do is acknowledge it, but not give it power. Not give it power. So whatever's coming up. So when you hear them, write them down again. Write them down and give yourself a chance to then turn them around into positive affirmations. Yes. Yes, can we get the lady over in the corner there? No, it's
my biggest fear about money is that I won't be able to make enough money in the career that I want. I grew up in Beverly Hills, but I never had enough money like my
yes,
friends did.
Yes, yes.
And so that was always that feeling like I never had enough.
Yes, yes.
And also I've been sick since 1986.
Well, that keeps you out of the running.
And that keeps me out of having to deal with, so
well, it's one way to deal with it. See, a lot of people do that. They will go into ill health because then you can't expect people to do anything, and it just takes you out of the running completely, and somebody else has to take care of you. But it's a terrible price to pay. How would you like your life to be?
Well, I would like, I see myself moving more towards how I'd like it to be because I've been working on this kind of stuff for like 3 years. I'm feeling like the love part is really abundant. I've got a lot of love. So how else I would like it to be is where I'm comfortable and feeling free in the job that I do and the career that I want. I'd like to work at the career that I want to work at and make enough money to live and get over that issue already.
Okay, then why don't you make that an affirmation? I am working at the career that I really enjoy, and I'm making an abundance of money, and I'm comfortable with it. Money has become my friend, and I have all that I need. Put it into an affirmation and say it. Every day, say it, and every time those negative thoughts come up, just say this over and over again. You've got to tip the scale.
So you believe that if I say that on a daily basis, those thoughts will really begin to change, and I believe it because
if you're willing to let go of them, if you're willing to let go of them, if you really want to hold on to them, then it won't work. And what do you do when you're not doing that affirmation? You see, remember, every thought we think and every word we speak is an affirmation and going out and coming back. So if you do one affirmation 3 times a day, that's great, but what are you doing the rest of the time? That's what's important. I love myself. I'm willing to go beyond my past. I am the only person who chooses my thoughts now. You know, I work in a career that I really enjoy. I'm earning good money. I'm comfortable with it. I release the limitations of my parents. I let them go. You've got part of your life working nicely now, so you know, work on this now. You'll get it. Again, remember, our parents had lots and lots of beliefs about money, and we picked up a great deal of it. So what were your parents' beliefs? It's another good thing to sit down and write down, make a list. What did my parents believe about money? And write it all down, and then look at it and say, am I choosing to believe that now? I like to use the word choice and choosing in lots of the questions that I ask myself, because I want to make sure that I understand that I am choosing to do what I'm doing. I don't have to do it. It's a choice. So do I choose to believe what they believe, or would I like to believe something else? Again, we want to go beyond our parents' limitations. And I think many of us had parents that grew up in the Depression. And for them, there was a lot of fear. But we're not there now. We're not there now. If you want to change your job, first of all, if you say, I hate this job, it is not going to get you what you want. All you're going to do is take dissatisfaction with you into the next job. What I like to tell people to do if they want to change a job, first of all, is bless this current job with love. Put a lot of love into it. Thank it for being there when you wanted it, when it was there, when you first got it. And know that you're now passing it on to somebody else that will love it and will probably do an even better job than you're doing. Then, in that state, then open yourself to a wonderful new position. Know that there are people out there that are looking for exactly what you have to offer, and that you're being brought together on the checkerboard of life. I love that image of here you go, oh, hi, there you are. But you know, it's been happening like this for a while. And that you're working somewhere that uses your talents and abilities. You're being fulfilled. You're working with and for people that you love and that love you, and you're earning a good income. And it's in a beautiful location. You know, put it all in, and with that sort of atmosphere, then you can attract something wonderful to you. It's the same thing with an apartment or a home. If you want to move from where you are, don't wander around saying, oh, I hate this apartment. Because you're not going to find something you really love, or if you do find something nice, you're going to find this awful dissatisfaction in it right away because you're taking your consciousness. When you moved to your apartment, it was wonderful. So put love into it and say, thank you for being here for me. We really had a good time, and now it's time for me to move on. And I know somebody else wonderful is going to come and live here. And then I'm opening myself to a wonderful new place to live in the perfect location, you know, with lots of light and sun of air. If that's important to you, it's very important to me. And put in everything that you want, and always add, at a price I can easily afford. At a price I can easily afford. Don't limit yourself and don't put something on there. Put it at a price I can easily afford. Then it's amazing what can come in that is exactly what you want. Same thing with a car. If you want to leave the car that you have, if you want a new one, put love into it. Thank it for being there for you. And say, I'm moving on now. I'm moving to a wonderful new car. And I know somebody else will love you. The more you can do that, the better it is. The better it is. Yes, right here.
I've been very prosperous in my life.
Good.
And I have a hard time opening up my arms and saying I'm willing to accept more prosperity because I have these fears that something terrible is going to happen.
Okay, was that a family thing?
Family and life experiences.
Okay.
So fear and safety have a lot of meaning.
Okay, so if you're like this, you're a lot safer.
Yeah,
symbolically.
I really became aware of it when you went to throw open your arms, and I got really fearful, like,
okay, all right,
and experience it.
All right.
And I don't know what to do to... I have also a fear about, with an affirmation, do I throw myself, do I deny some part of myself? Or is there, and will I, you know, everybody experiences denial and things like that. Will I use an affirmation to hide myself?
I don't know. You might. I don't know whether you will or not. But an affirmation really is like planting a seed in the ground. And an affirmation, remember, it usually doesn't feel true to begin with. Because if it were a truth, you wouldn't need to do an affirmation. What you're trying to do is to create something that you didn't have before. And you're putting a seed in the ground, a new seed. And when you put the seed in the ground, you don't get instant whatever. What you get is a seed in the ground, and you have to nurture it. Now, to want something new in your life is not to deny what you have, unless you're releasing something. And then you don't have to deny it, but you can say, I'm letting it go because it no longer serves me. And now I want to create this new in my life and start the new affirmation going. And remember, if you have had experiences in your life that are not comfortable, on some level they're mirrors of you. We don't always like to hear that, but everything in our life is a mirror of us. So if something's happening out there that's not comfortable, we have to look inside and say, how are we creating it? What is it about me, or what is it within me that believes that I deserve this experience? Because otherwise we wouldn't bring it to us. So perhaps, I would say that perhaps a little more loving yourself would help. Because when you get that flowing, you won't bring in uncomfortable experiences. When I was a little girl, and then when I grew up and started out in the world, my self-esteem was so low, and I had such a terrible self-image that I created awful experiences, just terrible experiences. And that continued until gradually I learned how to use your mind, and that loving yourself is the way to bring good things into your life. And then my experiences changed. But, you know, if you just say, oh, well, it's scary, and if I open myself up, I'll get terrible things, you probably will. Until you've changed whatever it is inside of you that attracts that. And that can... Yes. Okay, so it's just a question. You say you've had a lot of money, so that's not an issue with you, but you have other areas. See, money isn't the answer. We think it is. We think money is going to take care of everything and we won't have any problems anymore, but it's not our answer. Let's see what this gentleman right here wants to say.
Hi, Louise.
Yes.
My situation with finding a new house is a little different. I love the one I'm in, but I have to move.
Okay.
So a year ago, I also had to move. I didn't love the place I was in, but I ended up loving it, and this new place manifested, which now I love, and which I have to leave.
Okay.
And I'm going out looking at all these places, and every one is like, no, I don't want this, I don't want this. And like a whole month has gone by.
Well, the
and
right
time
place is
running
waiting
out.
for you. The right place is looking for you. Now, you know that you can find a wonderful place. And just know and affirm that the power within you that got you the other place, or the other places, will bring the new one in. And you know it's the perfect place. And it's coming to you in a delightful, surprising manner. And yes, look for it, but sometimes it doesn't happen. I remember once in Los Angeles, I was looking for an apartment. It took me 6 months. And when I was looking, I couldn't believe the junk that I was seeing. I kept saying, this is Los Angeles. It's filled with wonderful apartments. Where are they? All I could see was junky apartments that I wouldn't consider. And it took me 6 months. And then when I found the one that I wanted, it was magnificent. And the thing was that the building was being built. And I couldn't get it because it wasn't built yet. And when it was built, it was waiting for me. And sometimes that happens. You know, you look for something and you're not finding, and you're not finding, and you're not finding. There's a reason for that. Now, you know that you're going to get a wonderful place.
Thank you for your support.
You'll keep knowing that you always live in a wonderful place. That it's easy for you to find homes. And you always have a wonderful place to live. Make that your personal law. The other thing that I like, and I used this for years, was that I always have good relationships with my landlords. Because that's something that makes life a lot nicer. Yes. Let's do this gentleman over here.
Thank you. I'm pretty well blessed with friends and joy. But like the other gentleman, I freelance, and so I get very well supported by the people around me. But that tends to make me feel very guilty because I can't reciprocate.
Okay. That's your problem, not theirs. Are they giving to you only to get back?
It depends on the individual. You know, family tends to give with one hand and expect something in return. But the friends are giving out of the joy of giving.
Okay, so the family who is giving with one hand and expecting in return, just give them some love.
I've been trying that.
Just do it, you know, and if that's not good enough for them, that's not your problem. That's their problem. There are times in life when the universe gives to us in a form, whatever form that we may need, and we may not be able to do anything to give back or anything, and that's okay. I mean, however the universe has decided to take care of you, you say thank you.
Yeah.
And then there will come a time in your life when you will help somebody else. I can think of many people in my life in the early days who really helped me enormously at a time when there was no way I could pay them back. But what's happened is that years later, I've taken an opportunity to help someone else. And that's the way life goes. Very often all we do is exchange prosperity. Somebody gives you something and you right away give it back. Or you reciprocate. Or somebody takes you to lunch and you immediately have to take them to lunch. Or somebody gives you a gift and you immediately have to give them a gift. Learn to receive. Learn to accept. Learn to say thank you and just receive. And you know, if the universe likes to know that you can receive and not just exchange. And sometimes you don't need to give back to the person that gave to you. You'll give to somebody else at another time. But learn to accept. A lot of us have problems with that. We can give, but we can't. You know, and when somebody gives you a gift, smile and say thank you. That's all you need to do is smile and say thank you. You know, if somebody gave you a gift and you said to them, oh, it's the wrong size or it's the wrong color, I guarantee that person will never give you another gift. And the universe will say, this person doesn't want any good. You know, you accept graciously, and if it really isn't right for you, then you pass it on to somebody that can use it. Same thing with compliments. If somebody gives you a compliment, smile and say thank you. Just smile and say thank you. And you know, speaking of prosperity, how do you nourish yourself? What do you do for yourself that's nourishing? What do you do to make yourself feel good, to take care of yourself, to make sure that you're in superb health, to make sure that you have lots of loving friends around you? What do you do? Do you take time to nourish yourself? Again, you know, going to the mirror in the morning, any time of the day, but I like the morning because it sets the tone of the day. And saying, what can I do for you today to nourish you? How can I nourish you? How can I make you happy? How can I make you happy? The other thing we want to do, you know, is we want to be grateful for what we do have. If we're only looking at what we don't have, if we're only seeing the lack, again, that's not a way to bring more good in. Start to be very aware of what you have and be very grateful for it so that more stuff can come in. This lady over here wants to ask me something. I saw you.
Hi, I'm having a hard time receiving happiness. Actually, I'm very happy. I'm having a hard time with fear of being happy.
Okay, what would happen?
I'm newly married, and I'm very happy, and I feel like I'm receiving love more than I ever have. I have a 9-month-old baby who's very beautiful, and I love her very much. And I have a tremendous amount of fear that something's going to happen to her, or something's going to happen if I'm too happy.
Yes.
Or,
you know what that's called? That's called running anxiety. That's all it is. It's like there's an anxiety part of us that is here. And usually it gets taken care of this way or that way. We have these little things going on. When our life is really magnificent, it's like we're not handling that part of ourselves. Yeah. So these thoughts come up. So when you hear them or when you feel them, just say, it's okay, I'm just running anxiety. All is well. My life is so wonderful, and I deserve, and I'm willing to accept, and I can have. That's all you're doing. Just recognize it is that little part of you is saying, well, you know, she's not upset anymore, and we've got to do something.
Something's going to go wrong. I just know it. Things are too good.
Thank you for sharing, you know. Again, thank you for sharing. You know, I appreciate, I know you're trying to take care of me. You know, one of the things that I do when a fear thought comes up is I say to it, I thank it. I say, thank you for trying to protect me. Thank you for taking care of me. I appreciate that you want to help me. And then I'll do an affirmation for whatever it is. But I acknowledge that the fear thought is there to protect me, because that's what fear is, really, isn't it? You know, you get frightened and the adrenaline comes and it's saying, where's the danger? So I say thank you. And you can do the same thing for that. And just don't give it a lot of importance. Okay, let's give it to the lady in aqua here. Yes.
Hi. I've read a lot of your books, and I'm really trying to practice learning and applying what I'm getting out of the books. But when I looked into the mirror, I expected to have the fear of not having enough money. But what came to me was a fear of having the money. And I sat here and thought about that. My family did keep playing these old tapes. We were poverty and welfare children, and it was always, well, rich people are no good, or they're selfish, or they're whatever, and on and on.
So now if you have money, you're going to be no good.
Oh yeah, and you should never have a credit card. And what's really funny is I have a credit card, and I always sabotage myself with my credit cards. I always manage to have enough money to pay the rent and buy my food, and if I start making too much money or becoming too successful, I will sabotage myself so that I only provide enough money to meet my needs and not my wants. Well, then I started putting out these affirmations of it's okay to accept and to have things. And yesterday I was driving down the street and I really had a strong need for a vacuum cleaner and a typewriter. And those are like so unrelated, but I turned up the wrong street, and sitting on the corner was a vacuum cleaner that had a sign on it that said, free, it runs, take me. I stopped the car, and I got out of the car, and sitting next to the vacuum cleaner on the ground was a typewriter. There was a little Jewish man that was standing in the driveway, and I said, excuse me, are these yours? And he said, no, dear, they're yours. I have had them for so long, I don't use them. The maid has her own vacuum cleaner. You take them and use them well. And I smiled and said, "Thank you."
You must have made some changes in consciousness, I think. How wonderful. Okay, let's let this lady.
I hear you talking about loving yourself and allowing, being willing to learn to love myself. But how do I put it into practice? How do I really allow myself to love myself so that I can?
Well, first thing that you do, absolute number one on the list, is you stop criticizing yourself. Just make a vow that you are not going to do that at all anymore. And work on that as much as you can, because as you stop criticizing yourself, you are going to be amazed at how you lighten up on yourself. I find that that's the number one thing that's in the way of loving who we are.
I really appreciate what you said about if we couldn't say "I love you," to say "I'm willing to learn to love you." That was very helpful.
Bring it
I
back
appreciate that.
to a space that you can begin to work.
Right.
Don't force yourself. The quicker you can get to "I love myself," the better it is. But if you can't do it to start with, "I'm willing to learn," "I'm willing to begin to learn to like you," if you have to move that far back. But someplace so that you can start inching up till you get to the point where you say, "I love you, you're wonderful," and really feel good about it. And that takes time for some people, because we've got all this stuff in the way. And when we get to the point where we can really do that, it's amazing the wonderful stuff that happens in our lives. But remember, we're only dealing with thoughts, and thoughts can be changed. I love working in a group like this because we help each other. We bring up stuff and we can see where other people are, and it touches stuff inside of us. When we change our thinking, we change our reality. That's just that simple. So let's know some positive things for ourselves. We are open and receptive to wonderful new ideas. We allow prosperity to enter our lives on a level that it has never entered before. We deserve the best, and we are willing to accept. Our income is constantly increasing. We move away from poverty thinking into prosperity thinking. We love ourselves. We rejoice in who we are, and we know that life is here for us and will supply us with everything that we need. We move from success to success, from joy to joy, and from abundance to abundance. We are one with the power that created us, and we express for ourselves the greatness that we are. We are divine, magnificent expressions of life, and we are open and receptive to all good. And so it is. Thank you very much.
And you can heal your heart.